Welcome to the Business of Style podcast with me, your host, Louisa Gabriel. I'm a personal stylist and image strategist who grew a successful six-figure business, and now I'm educating and empowering other personal stylists and image professionals just like you to do the same. So please keep listening to hear the lessons I've learned and the strategies I've used along the way that are guaranteed to take your personal styling career from side hustle to six figures too. If you listened to the last episode, you will have heard me talk about follower count on social media and why it's a vanity metric. And I know that kind of ruffled a few feathers because it really feels good to see those numbers of followers increasing. It's a real boost to your confidence. But here's the truth. Follower count does not equal revenue. It does not equal authority. And it definitely does not equal a booked out styling business. So in today's episode, we're going to dive a little bit deeper. If follower count doesn't matter, then what does? Today, we're talking about the metrics that give you insight into whether your marketing strategies are actually working. And more importantly, how you can use those metrics to grow your personal styling business strategically. Because when you understand the data, you stop guessing. And when you stop guessing, you grow faster. So let's dive into it. So let's start with engagement. Not likes, not views, actual engagement rate. The engagement rate tells you whether your audience is actually paying attention and whether your content is something that resonates with them. They're only going to engage with content that they really like and that it strikes a chord with them. So for personal stylists, this matters because styling is built on trust. You're asking someone to trust you with their image, their confidence, and obviously their money. And if people aren't interacting with your content on social media, then there's not really building that trust within the relationship. So when we talk about engagement, what actually does count as engagement? So it's things like saves. If someone saves your post, shares, any comments they might leave, any direct messages they send you, any replies through stories you get, any click-throughs that happen. Saves and shares are an especially powerful metric. And if someone saves your post on, say, how to dress for your body shape, that tells you something very important. And that is that topic matters to that person and matters to your audience. So how do we track that engagement? Well, we track it through Instagram Insights if you're on Instagram, or TikTok Analytics. All the information is actually being tracked for you, whether you know it or not. And this is an important reason why, if you have accounts on social media, you really need them to be a business page. They shouldn't be just a regular personal profile that you've decided to turn into your business profile. You need to actually get a formal business page, because then you can have access to all this data about the engagement, the amount of saves and shares, the click-throughs, the replies. You can actually see what content is working and what isn't. So if you don't have a business profile on your social media, you need to make that switch now. If you switch, you won't lose any of your followers, but it gives you a better insight into whether your marketing strategies on social media are actually working. Now, when it comes to a benchmark for engagement. For small accounts, what we're looking for is about a 3 to 6% engagement rate. That is perfectly solid. I know it sounds low, but it really isn't when it comes to social media and engagement rates. Anything above 6% is absolutely amazing and out of this world. And you know that your content is really beginning to work. So if your engagement is low, what that typically shows us is that there's a content clarity issue, and it's not so much an algorithm issue. So that gives you the insight in order to start developing your content further. This is why using metrics and using the data is so important to us business owners. So we know that social media is not the goal, right? You tuned into the last episode. You heard me talk about that. You know that the place that you want to be taking people is your website, because your website is where you collect those email addresses, you book those consultations, you sell your styling packages. And if you're doing any kind of teaching, that's where you're enrolling your students. So if your social media is growing, but your website traffic isn't, then your marketing strategy isn't actually converting in the way you need it to. So there are lots of tools out there that you can use to track your website traffic if you're not already doing it. Now, depending on who hosts your website, there might actually be internal analytics that you can get from the website host. If you're using something like Wix does have its own analytics that can provide you the information and see if you're actually converting those leads. You can use Google Analytics. That is completely free. You don't have to pay to use it, and it's got all the information that you need. You can use Google Search Console. You can use Ubersuggest by Neil Patel. There is a free version that has all the data for you and gives you the keywords and can help you point in the direction. These are all the things that I personally use in my own business to guide me when it comes to my marketing strategies and making sure that it's actually leading to conversions and getting people to sign up with me. So let's talk about Ubersuggest for a minute, okay? It is fantastic for stylists who really want to get an understanding of what keywords people are searching for. Maybe how your blog posts are ranking if you're writing a blog, how much traffic your website is getting, and also what your competitors are ranking for. It gives you a clear insight so you can start streamlining all your marketing activities. So, for example, if you're a color analyst and you write a blog post titled, "What is seasonal color analysis?" Ubersuggest can tell you how many people search that term per month, how competitive it is, and whether it's something you should actually start targeting, whether it's going to be something that is beneficial to your business. And what this does by having this type of information and data is it stops us creating content blindly and wasting our time on creating things that just aren't going to help our business grow. So it's definitely worth checking out. But if you don't use Ubersuggest, look at Google Analytics, look at your website host analytics, and really find out, are you actually converting? Are you increasing traffic to your website? So the next thing is conversion rate. And this is the one that actually pays you. This is a big one. Okay. Conversion rate tells you how many people are actually taking action. And that's what we want, right? We don't just want them to come over to our website. We want them to click that buy now, that schedule the consultation call. That's what we want them to do. So for stylists, that action, it could be booking a discovery call. It could be purchasing a package. That's the ultimate thing we want. It could be downloading a free guide that you are offering. It could be joining your email list. This is all conversions. It's the action side of the traffic. So here's the formula. Conversions divided by the total number of visitors to your website multiplied by 100. So if you have 100 people visit your website and 5 people book a discovery call with you, then your conversion rate is actually 5%. Now, here's what most stylists get wrong. They focus more on getting the traffic instead of improving the conversions. So if your conversion rate is low, I want you to look at the following things. First thing, is your offer clear? Second, is your pricing transparent? Gone are the days when we don't have pricing on websites. People want to see it. They want that transparency. They want to know if they can afford that service before signing up for it or before even committing to a discovery call. 3, are your testimonials visible? Okay. Testimonials are very important. It's that word of mouth marketing that I've talked about in different episodes. Make sure you're getting those testimonials and that they're very clear. They're right there on your website. These things are going to help your conversion rate. And 4, is your booking process simple? Is it clear on your website the steps that they actually have to take if they want to sign up and work with you? You've got to make it very clear for people. If you don't, they're just going to X out of your website and go look somewhere else. So you do not need 10,000 followers. What you actually need is clarity and conversion. Okay. Write those 2 words down, clarity and conversion. This is where your focus really needs to be when you're trying to figure out if your marketing strategies are actually working for your business. Now, the 4th thing we want to look at is your email list growth. This is your real asset. This is the asset that you actually own. We know that social media platforms can change overnight. We know that platforms can go down and have outages. We know that you can get shadow banned or even banned fully from social media. And all those followers that you might have, those potential leads that you might have, are gone. They don't belong to you. Whereas your email list, it actually does belong to you. When somebody signs up for your list and gives you their information in order to contact them, that information is yours to keep until they want to unsubscribe. But it doesn't belong to a site. It doesn't belong to Facebook. It doesn't belong to TikTok. Okay. It is yours and you have that information. So if you are not building an email list as a personal stylist, then what you're actually doing is you're building your business on rented land. Your strategies that you're using are on that rented social media space, which is not a very sound foundation for a business. So when it comes to your email list, the metrics that you really want to be watching the subscriber growth per month. Okay. You want to look at the open rate. How many people are actually opening your emails when they land in the inbox? It's not going to be 100%. I can tell you that. We want to aim for around 20 to 40% is probably a healthy goal. Oh, don't expect 100. Don't feel sad if only 25% are opening your emails. This is all part of marketing and the approaches that we have to take. You want to look at your click-through rate. All this information will be within that CRM system that you use. It'll show you how many people not only open that email, but they actually click the link that you've got in the email too. And you also want to take a look at how many unsubscribes. I don't want you to get down when people unsubscribe. Don't take it personally. I used to do that when I first started. Every time somebody unsubscribed, I would think, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do wrong? But it's not. We sign up for things and then we lose interest in things. Or it might just be that that's no longer the content that people are looking for. It doesn't serve their specific needs. And that's okay, because what that tells you is that person wasn't your client anyway. So pay attention to the unsubscribe, see how many people are unsubscribing. And if you find you have a lot on one particular email, then take a look at that email and have a think about, what is it? Was that content just not connecting with your target audience? It could be as simple as that. So it gives you guidance. It helps push you in the right direction. The good thing with email lists is it actually does tell you who is truly interested in the services that you have to offer. If somebody joins your email list and gives you their personal information, then they are a warmer lead than just a casual follow on social media. So there are different platforms you can use out there if you haven't already got one to do your email list from. You may have one within your website host. They may offer that also. But if not, things like MailerLite, ConvertKit, Flowdesk, these are all very popular ones. Take a look at them because it is something that is going to be beneficial to your business. So other things to think about is which subject lines get open. The subject line is very important on emails. It can either make or break it. So pay attention to the subject lines that you have used and which have been more popular and got more people opening that email. Watch which emails get clicks, okay? That click-through rate, very important. And when you see these things and you get that data, is start doubling down on those topics. Use those emails again. Use those topics again. Keep it in the same line, because that is what your audience is telling you that they want by the action that they're taking when they receive your emails. All right, so let's move on now to lead source tracking. What I mean by this is, where exactly are your clients coming from? This is sometimes a very overlooked metric, but it is very important. And there's a very important question that you need to ask every single client or every single person that you book a discovery call with. The first thing you want to know is, how did you find me? And then you want to track it. You might be thinking that Instagram or TikTok, because you've got lots of followers and you're popular on there, is actually what is driving your business and driving people to you. But in all truth, it could actually be Google search. It could be word of mouth. It could be Pinterest. It could even be a blog post that you wrote like 2 years ago and is still out there and people are still finding it. So you want to know what content is actually working for you and driving those leads to you. So it doesn't have to be fancy. You're just going to ask that question. You can use a simple spreadsheet to track the information. If you use a CRM system, you can use that. You can track it within there. Or you can use a form field in your booking software if you're using some kind of software. When you know your strongest lead source, this is going to enable you to stop wasting time on platforms that aren't converting. And this is the most important thing. We want to put all our energy into the activities and the strategies that are going to give us the best return on our time investment, and also sometimes our money investment, right? The next thing, if you're running paid ads, which I know a lot of you do, I see a lot of ads for personal stylists and color analysts are definitely popping up on social media. You see them on Google. But if you're running ads, you really need to know what your cost per lead is. This is going to tell you how much it costs to acquire one potential client. Not a client that has booked. It's the amount they're actually charging you just to get that one potential client. So, for example, if you spend, let's say, $200 on Google Ads and you generate 20 leads from that Google ad, then your cost per lead is $10. Now, what you need to ask is how many of those leads are actually converting into paying clients. That's the important metric that we want to know. So if 5 people book a $500 styling package, then you have got a very strong return on that $200 that you spent, right? But if none convert, so people are coming to your website from the ads, but they're not actually booking, then something is wrong. And usually it's something within the offer and not the ad. The ad has done its job. It's got them to click over onto your website. But once they've got to your website, there was something potentially missing for them that made them decide not to sign up. So this gives you the great insight as to where you then need to start focusing and actually putting in your time. Next, okay, content performance over time, okay? Patterns are so much greater than perfection is. So I want you to stop judging content that you create after 24 hours. So whether it be a blog post, whether it be a podcast episode, whether it be something you have posted on social media, don't judge it after 24 hours and write it off as something that hasn't worked. What you want to look for is patterns. You want to look for the posts that are getting you the most saves. What's getting you the most direct messages? What content is bringing website clicks? What content is bringing inquiries about the services that you offer? So for stylists, high performing topics often include things like body shape guidance, capsule wardrobe advice, before and after transformations, color analysis explanations, confidence-based styling content. You need to start tracking things and do it on a monthly basis, but you're not going to track it emotionally. It's all about doing it strategically. And that's why we're not going to judge how our content is doing within 24 hours. Give it time to work and then take a look at what it is telling you. So how do we track all these things? That's a lot of things, right? And you're like, oh my God, not only do I have to create the content now, but I've got to track all this data. And then I'm supposed to fit in styling at some point too. And maybe I even have to fit in my full-time job at this point. I get that it can feel very overwhelming. So how are we going to track all these things so that we can use them in our business to help us without getting overwhelmed? Well, here's what I recommend. Do it once a month. I want you to sit down once a month and I want you to review your Instagram insights if you're on Instagram or TikTok, wherever you are posting social content. Once a month, just look at those insights and get the information that you need to find out what activities work the best, what content has been working the best for you when it comes to not increasing your follow count, but increasing your engagement and getting traffic over to your website. Review your website traffic on a monthly basis. Just take a look. Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Where are the leads coming from? Review your email growth. Have you had more subscribers in this past month? Have you had a lot of people unsubscribing in the past month? And which of your email campaigns have produced the best for you? I want you to review your conversions. How many people are actually clicking on your content and then taking those next steps? They're signing up for that discovery call, or they're even booking those services with you. And review your top performing content. At the end of each month, you should have a clear idea by looking at all these numbers, which piece of content worked the best for your business. And that is going to be able to guide you when it comes to creating more content so that you don't waste your time. All you need to do is create a simple Google sheet, and once a month, just take a look at the numbers and get the guidance that you need for your business. Marketing becomes a lot less stressful when you actually treat it like data and not treat it like drama. So focus on the data and use those numbers to give you direction. So let's bring it back to growth. If follower count is a vanity metric, then these are your growth metrics: engagement rate, website traffic, conversion rate, email growth, lead sources, and cost per lead if you're using any kind of paid advertising. When you track these consistently, you are going to be able to make much more informed decisions. You'll stop copying other stylists because you think their content is working better than yours is. You'll stop chasing those trends on social media and you'll start building an actual business. And that really is the difference between being a content creator and being a CEO stylist, which is what you have set out to be. So that's it. That is today's episode. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, I want you to do one thing this week. I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to pick one metric that you've been ignoring. Maybe you've been ignoring all of them, and that's okay, because from today on, we're going to start using them to grow our business. So pick one metric that you haven't been tracking, and I just want you to start tracking it. Okay, because clarity creates successful styling businesses. So that's it. That's your homework. And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Business of Style podcast, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you'll be notified when a new episode is available. And of course, if you're looking for additional training and resources to help you in your career as a personal stylist, then be sure to visit my website, styleacademyintl.com.